Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode in which where I will be reviewing 5 movies. You heard it correctly, 5 movies. Well, I'm Sarah of Horror, and I review movies and do film commentary. And some fun other stuff like fun intros and things like that. And today, I will be reviewing all the Anaconda movies. And yes, there are 5. I didn't really know what I wanted to review this week, so I just typed in, like creature features, killer animals, and Anaconda popped up, and I was like, that was such a long time ago, and I've seen the first one many times, but I haven't like the sequels. I've only seen them once, and it was like so many years ago. So I was like, you know what? Let's do this. And while I was watching or rewatching the first one, the news popped up that there is a remake to the first one. Yes, a remake from China. I was like, what? Okay, that was just released this year. And I was like, yeah, I will watch that too and review that as well. Oh yeah, I will also be reviewing the remake. So yeah, we have a pretty long and interesting episode ahead of us. So you know what? Let's get started. Okay, so Anaconda is from 1997, directed by Luis Llosa. I'm so sorry, but yeah, I tried. Of course, starring Jennifer Lopez, Jon Voight, Eric Stoltz, Ice Cube, Owen Wilson, Carrie Wooer. I mean, just a lot of very well-known people, including Danny Trejo, of course. So, the plot. So, yes, I did that to show my nails. Yeah, I really like them. Yeah. Okay, but we're being serious now. So, the plot, we have like a National Graphic kind of film team where Jennifer Lopez plays Terry Flores, and she wants to capture some gorgeous shots of the jungle, and she gets this opportunity by Eric Stoltz, and she's like, yeah, I'll tag along with you, we'll get these amazing shorts, I will film this movie. So her and her crew, they go up to the jungle, to the river, and on their way there they meet this stranded man played by Jon Voight. They then realize that, he is not really who he seems to be, because he has some other motives why he is there. And, he's there to capture the biggest snake in the world, the anaconda. So people start dying from being attacked by anacondas. So they have to, fight for their lives. Yeah. I mean, with the title called Anaconda, you could probably figure out the plot quite easily. People are being attacked by anacondas and have to fight to stay alive. Yes. When I first saw this, I was quite young, and I used to have this on VHS tape. Like it was played like on the TV late at night, and my mom or someone recorded it on VHS for me. And then I just replayed it like almost every day. So I watched Anaconda a lot, but I really liked watching it. And now it's hard for me to understand why this movie has gotten such a bad reputation. Like, why does so many people hate this movie or say that it's so horrible and awful when it's not? Like, people, have you seen some of the sequels? Yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's not bad at all. It's very enjoyable. And if we just look at the intro, the first scene, we have Danny Trejo. It's kind of chaotic. We see him trying to run away from something, get away from something. He's like inside of a boat, smaller boat, and it feels already there. It feels kind of claustrophobic, very stressful, chaotic. We're just thrown into something. And then, he's attacked by something. And I did really like this intro scene. I think it's a very good way to start the film. And also, even though, it's very chaotic, stressful, but the environment, like the nature, is very kind of calm at the same time. So that is like a contrast that I really, really liked. And I also like the cinematography. Because if we compare the cinematography in this film to the sequels, to the kind of modern remake, the other movies, they feel kind of too clean, too digital, and this one, it has a kind of a different look, which I prefer. Yeah, I prefer this look to all the polished and clean movie looks, so to speak. This one, it feels more. It has it has more heart, so to speak. And also, I do think Jennifer Lopez did a really good job in this one. I think, almost every character did a really good job in this one. And even though, Owen Wilson, I see him as mostly this kind of comedic, humorous actor. And he was kind of, comedic in this one in some situations. He still did a really good job portraying his character in this one as well, even though it required him to be serious in some instances. So he did a really good job in this one, I think, as well. And also, I read that the snakes they used animatronic snakes, 2 of them called Queen and Warrior, actually. And one of them kind of malfunctioned in one scene they were filming, so it was out of control. And they actually used that footage in the film. So when I will rewatch this film, I will have that in mind, and I will try to think, is this the scene where the snake kind of malfunctioned and just went out of control and they used it? Because I can, think of some scenes where that could be the case. Because I remember there was one scene I reacted, I was like, this snake is just very, I don't know, seems a bit dangerous to have it so out of control. But maybe that was the scene, or maybe that was not the scene at all, and I'm just reading too much into this. And also there's like one hilarious scene where a anaconda, I think he spits out a monkey at a character who's just sitting there, and he gets it right in the face or something. That was quite hilarious. I think it was done kind of slow motion or something. Yeah, there was something like technical about it as well. It's a fake monkey, of course. Just wanted to clarify. But yeah, that scene was quite hilarious because I had completely forgot it, and it just came out of nowhere. And it just, that was quite fun. I remember when I was young, and this film was, released in cinemas, my parents, they went on a date night to go and watch this movie at cinema. And I was like, please, can you take me with you? I also want to watch Anaconda. And they're like, no way. And I was like, way, please. And they did not bring me along to their date night to watch Anaconda. And I was so sad. I was like crying and just being, no, I'm kidding. But I was a bit annoyed, but I could watch Anaconda a few years later. So anyway, I was happy. They also really liked the film. They did. So all I got was Anaconda was a great film. They had fun and enjoyed watching it. So I went in watching it the first time with just really high and good expectations, and they were met. And they are still met. Yeah, I still enjoy watching this one to this day. I could watch it again today, tomorrow. I think the snakes are done in a very good way. I read besides that they have animatronics, they also used CGI, which cost $100,000 per second, which is insane. But maybe that is how much it costs to use CGI. Like I don't use CGI personally myself, so I have no idea about how much it costs. I'm sure that there are different types of pay grade pay scales depending on the quality, I guess. But I'm not a CGI maker myself. So I really don't know. And if any of you, knows how this works, then please let me know in the comments below. I'm always eager to learn more about the film industry. But yeah, I do think that the Anacondas looked good. And I do like the kill scenes, attack scenes. I mean, I bought into the feeling that this Anaconda is really constricting someone, breaking all their bones, and that this character is really suffering, which is really important in these types of movies. Like, if I don't believe that or buy that, then, those kill scenes didn't mean nothing, and the build-up was for nothing. So I think they did a really good job with that in this one as well. And I also like, the different types of conflicts we have in this one. When Jon Voight's character Paul Serrano comes in, and immediately we do feel that there is something fishy and suspicious with him. So we're wondering all the time, like, okay, when is he gonna turn? What's gonna happen? When will it be chaos? And then other things happen as well, like some little side stories, which are fun as well. They kind of bring a lot to the film. They don't drag the film down. So I do really like the script as well. As I said, I do really like the cinematography in this one. I do like the environment, just everything they used, the details, just everything feels very thought out, so to speak. I also like that the most part of this film is kind of happens on the boat, in different places on the boat, and then in the surrounding waters, of course. I also like the climax a lot. I think it was quite clever and believable, and I do think that the length of this film is perfect. I think it worked. It's not too long, doesn't feel too short, or that they have missed to put in some stuff. And I don't think there's any scenes that felt kind of dragged out. Everything just kind of went by smoothly, and I wouldn't say happily. not for a lot of people in this one. But yeah, I had an amazing time rewatching this movie for the billionth time in my life. But as I said, it had been a while since I last saw this film, so it kind of felt that I saw some things I knew, as I said, with the monkey. So yeah, there were some surprises in this one left for me, so I was happy. So what will this one get? How many snakes? I'm giving it a 8 out of 10. Yeah, a strong 8 out of 10, definitely. And I think this is one of the better snake movies that I've seen personally. And as I said, I don't really get the hate for this movie. I mean, if you dislike the movie, fine. But that so many people hate this film, it's a bit strange. But okay, fine. If you hate the movie, then you hate the movie. It's fine. We can be friends anyway. But yeah, let's move on to review number 2, since we have 4 more to go. Okay, everyone, let's move on to review number 2 in this episode, which will be of Anacondas, The Hunt for the Blood Orchid. So that film is from 2004, so 7 years after the first Anaconda. It's directed by Dwight H. Little. I'm reading this. It's starring Morris Chestnut, Katie Strickland, Eugene Bird, Johnny Messner, and Carl Yoon. So in this one we have Morris Chestnut and a few other of his colleagues. They are trying to get funding for a very special project. They're about to lose their funding opportunities. All the people, the investors, they are going to back out. They have a last minute meeting to try and save this. And suddenly one of the colleagues is like, you know what, there is this plant, this blood orchid, that makes you live forever, or makes life longer. They can improve the health quality of everyone, cure diseases, and other things. Basically, a fountain of youth. And the investors are like, well, what are you waiting for? Go to Borneo, get that flower, you have our money. So this team, they go out to search for this blood orchid in Borneo, but the flowers are not the only thing they encounter on their way. You know, they also encounter some anacondas. Yes, so in this one we have kind of, you know, the filmmakers are trying to explain how these anacondas were so big in the first movie. Because they were gigantic, they were enormous, a huge anaconda. So their explanation lies in the blood orchid and its special qualities. And the blood orchid is a real flower. It's real, but you know, it doesn't have all these amazing magical qualities that it has in the film. So, you know, don't go to Borneo and try to find the blood orchid. You know, don't. Or maybe do, I don't know. Because also anacondas don't really live in Borneo. They, you know, maintain to other countries like Venezuela, perhaps. So yeah, maybe you can go find the blood orchid and not be attacked by anaconda. But yeah, the first time I saw this movie, like, I really disliked the film. Did not like it at all. And now when I rewatched it, I was like, you know, it isn't that bad. It's quite decent. I mean, I wouldn't go and say that this is as good as the first film. Not at all. But it's still a decent film. We have some kind of different kind of characters that come in play that are quite interesting. We have different kind of side stories that come in play. You know, people's personalities start to come out. We have a few twists here and there, which I liked. I really, really liked. And the film kind of just flies by. It isn't really boring. But what is boring is that this was the last film that in the Anaconda series that actually used practical effects. From the third and from there that it's only CGI, which is a bit shame. Because I love the animatronics snakes. I did. They used them in the final scene for this one, and it just, I don't know, it just makes me feel more. Because that I will bring this up when I review the third, the fourth one, and the remake about the CGI thing more. But yeah, so in this one, just like in the first one, there was a mix. But in the first one, they used the practical more because, as I said in my first review, it was super expensive just to use 1 second of CGI snake. But yeah, this was also the first film, the first Hollywood film to premiere in Fiji. Yes. We do have a few really good kills in this one. And we also have like interactions with other, not just snakes, but spiders and other things, which is also very, very interesting. Oh, and my favorite character, and probably in the whole series, was this monkey. I don't know what type of monkey it is. Should have looked it up. Too bad. But it was a white monkey with the brown or black spots or something. And it was so cute. And it had an amazing scene where it was being chased by this anaconda, because the monkey was like one of the people. It was like one of the characters' pet, so to speak. He lived on the boat, or she, don't know, but this monkey lived on the boat, and then it kind of got separated from the boat because it was more hungry and wanted to find some more food or something. And then it kind of got lost, and then an anaconda started chasing it. And I mean, the monkey was amazing. It was just running, hiding. It was so exciting. That monkey, good actor, yes. And I just felt for the monkey. I was like, no, please, no, don't die, please, I just can't. And yeah, I mean, I was so emotionally invested in this monkey that it was insane. Yeah. So I will not say if the monkey survived or if the monkey died. But the monkey was definitely like the best and most memorable thing from this film. But I'm saying that this film was bad. Not saying that at all. Yeah, some characters were not really that memorable, but they were okay. They were okay for this film. I don't think that these characters were as strong of characters as we got in the first one, for sure. But there wasn't enough drama, enough build-up, enough excitement to get me, you know, invested in the film, to make this an interesting film for what it is. I also like the environment. It's also always, you know, very exciting to see those types of like rainforest environments, like a bit, you know, forest filled with deadly animals. Anything can happen, not just anacondas. But yeah, I mean, is this as exciting and as good as the first one? No. And also the cinematography, as I said, I preferred the look of the first one, where it's not that clean, a bit more raw, unfiltered. And this one just feels a bit more cleaner, takes me out of the film a little bit, but not a major problem. Attack scenes were good, as I said, good build up, and I was like, ooh, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, where's the anaconda? And there was some surprising moments as well, which I liked. I liked that they put those in. It really made the film a bit better. Also the story, you know, with the blood orchid in this film, because as I said, it doesn't have those magical powers in real life. But in this film, I think that it was quite an interesting and kind of well thought out story. And it made it believable, like, why they would fight so hard to find the flower, even though they knew about the dangers in the forest. Also in this one, this was a funny detail. In one of the characters, they mentioned a film crew that was attacked by anacondas 7 years earlier in 1997. So that's a reference to the first film, but the other characters are like, no, that's just a story. That didn't happen. But I found that detail quite funny. And also in this one, because they mentioned that the blood orchid only blooms every 7 years. So this is 2004. So 7 years earlier means 1997, another reference from the first film, which was kind of fun and kind of explains why those anacondas were so giant, because they were munching or something on that blood orchid. And also the blood orchid will become a bigger factor in the later movies. So that is an important thing to keep in mind. So what will this movie get from me? It will get, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Yeah. This movie wasn't as bad as I remembered it to be at all. I found myself, you know, thinking this is a decent film. I gave it, you know, an undeserving low grade the first time. But now I'm glad I rewatched it. I think I've corrected my bad grade for this film, and I'm happy to have seen it again. But yeah, as I said, 3 more movies to go. Let's move on to review number 3. Okay, so moving on to the third review in this episode, and it is Anaconda 3, Offspring. So the movie is from 2008. It's directed by Don E. Fauntleroy, starring David Hasselhoff, yeah, Crystal Allen, Ryan McCluskey, Patrick Regis, and Anthony Green, among a lot of characters. So in this one, we have a mercenary for hire, Hasselhoff, who accepts a mission from a billionaire. Yes. He needs to capture a dangerous snake that could possibly help cure a terminal illness. Yes. So Hasselhoff goes on this journey to capture, you know, the anaconda, which in this movie is a mutant anaconda. Yes, that's the thing in this film, was that they would show mutant anacondas with kind of who has much deadlier skills. Like this anaconda can spit acid, the skin is more thicker, it has a higher, you know, fertility rate, and it has a sting in its tail also. So yeah, they wanted the director wanted to have these mutant anacondas because he wanted to incorporate more kind of horror and gore to the series from now on. And I mean, I'm all for that. I'm all for horror and gore, but if it's done in a fun way which fits the film. And you know, as we said in this one, there's, you know, so much CGI used, and it kind of shows, and it's not the good type of CGI. Some scenes worked, sure, but yeah, most of the CGI did not do this film any favors, like in the first two. Some of the gore did not look that good. It wasn't that engaging, and I did not really care, because also the characters did not really make me care. Especially the billionaire who wanted, you know, to only think about himself and no one else. And then we had, you know, David Hasselhoff's character. I can understand his motivation, you know, money. But I also really didn't care about his character at all. And I mean, there was like one character I kinda cared about, the main female character, but I thought she was kinda bland. Like, her character just didn't stand out personality-wise so much. I kinda forgot about her when she wasn't in the shot or in the scene, and that's a problem. I found her quite boring, honestly. Sorry. Also, I read that this movie had a much lower budget than the first two because the box office did not do that well with the second film, so they wanted to kind of cash in and get a profit by lowering the budget for this one, and unfortunately it kind of shows, because from now on it really feels that the Anaconda series just took a nosedive from here, like right from the start. Like, I remember there was an instance when the film starts. It starts in this facility where they are growing these mutant anacondas, and the anaconda escapes. Oh no, who would have thought that would ever happen? But yeah, it escapes and kills a lot of people. And there's one scene where the gore is really good. It looked kind of practical, but if it wasn't, it looked really good. We see a body, like, I think it's a severed head or a severed torso or something. It looks really good. I was like, okay, I'm in this. And then something happens, like, I'm not in this anymore. It was quite bad. But honestly, it wasn't that horrible as when I'm remembering seeing it the first time, but it was still quite bad. Like, we're not in the forest anymore. We're like a farming community in Romania, because we get to know that the company of the crew that were sent out in the second film were Romanian, so that is the connection between Romania and this film. So they are there, and I would have much preferred if they were in some sort of forest or something, because then we lose that really amazing environment, like all those, you know, forest scenes, all of those small details that we get in the first two films, and now we're like in a farming community, and it's just not that exciting, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, when we lose like interesting characters, we lose interesting scenery, interesting cinematography and details, then the movie just loses out on a lot. Plus, the snakes, they do not look as cool as in the first two, or, you know, that menacing or threatening. They just look very CGI-ish and not really-ish. So yeah, that is also a negative. Oh, and if you hear sounds, I forgot to mention this. If you hear any sound, it's my dryer. Yeah, it has to dry now. I don't have any other choice. I mean, David Hasselhoff, he did what he could with his character. At least his character was interesting. There was, you know, something there. He was memorable. His scenes were memorable. So at least that is a plus in my book. This film was also quite predictable. The dialogue was so and so. You know, there were attempts at, you know, having really good like one-liners, but they kind of fell flat, unfortunately. But yeah, we could kind of predict how this film would go, and it was not, you know, that fun prediction like, oh, I really hope this happens. It's like, this, yeah, this, you know, this will probably happen. Do I really care? No. And yeah, the cinematography is just not that interesting at all. It looks very flat, very boring. And as I said, it loses. It's so sad that they were in a forest. Maybe that was due to, having a much lower budget than the first ones. So, I mean, it is understandable, but it's too bad. Because I think that scenery would have done a lot for this film. So, how much will this film get from me? I'll give it a 3 out of 10. Yeah. By 3 out of 10, I gave the first one a strong 8, the second one a 6, and now we're down at 3. I mean, it doesn't sound very promising for the last two movies, but we never know. They might be much better. Maybe they realize, the third one, not so good, we need to do something, and maybe they come up with a much better results in the coming two. Who knows? You will know soon because I am reviewing the last two, of course. So yeah, let's move on to review number 4. Okay, so this is the 4th review in this episode, and I will be reviewing Anacondas, The Blood Trail. It's from 2009, directed by Don E. Fauntleroy, starring Crystal Allen, Lyndon Ashby, Danny Midwinter, Anna Laru, and John Rhys Davis. So in this one, we basically have a new mutated anaconda that can being cut in half, and then it regenerated itself into a really powerful mutant anaconda due to the blood orchid. That was the main theme in the second film. Yeah, so we have a returning main character played by Crystal Allen. So her character, the main character from the third one, is in this one, and that is actually the first time in the Anaconda series that they have brought back returning characters. So she's back, and her team of scientists and people she know, and they are trying to fight the snake, basically. And then we have also a group of other people that have other motives for being there. I mean, honestly, the plot is not really that intriguing for the 4th film. And I mean, Crystal Allen's character, I kind of liked her a bit more in this one, because in the third one I found her kind of bland and kind of boring. But I did like her just a little bit more in this one, so I mean, that's a plus. Yeah. But there were I think 2 other characters that really stood out that I kind of liked, and that got me just a little bit invested in the film, because they went through some difficult situations. But I mean, still, the CGI, the look of the snakes aren't that good. I mean, this is just a totally different feeling from the first film, even from the second film. The third and fourth film are, not really passable Anaconda movies in my opinion. Oh, and if you hear something now, it's my cat playing in the bathroom. Yes. In this film, they kind of reference the second film a lot, especially with the blood orchid. That was the main plot. In the second one, that the research team went to find. This one, that is also kind of the central theme, that the blood orchid is responsible for making the anacondas being able to regenerate things. Now they can regenerate themselves. So that is because in the third one they got some additional skills like spitting acid, hardened skin, being more fertile and stuff like that. But now they can also regenerate. So that is scary. But at least in this one they are back in a forest and not at a farming house, which is a little bit better. We get some more needed nature shots. The environment is more fitting in my opinion, but it's still not the same feeling as the first and the second film. at all. But I did read that this one actually did quite well at the box office, like much better than the third one. So they did greenlit a fifth installment. There were plans for a fifth, like even a studio had been brought in to create the fifth. But the script was rewritten into the crossover film with, you know, the killer crocodile, Lake Placid, because there's a Lake Placid versus Anaconda. So the fifth film turned into that. And yeah, that is why I'm not including it in this episode. I will have a separate Lake Placid episode and I will include that film in that episode. Yes. So only strictly Anaconda movies in this episode. But yeah, back to the film. I mean, the kills, I mean, maybe there were like one creative kill or two, but some of them look really, really bad due to the CGI, you know, no heart and just very kind of robotic. Just, yeah. Please do practical effects, or at least animatronic practical effects, please. And you can mix that with CGI like they did in the first one. That, you know, if you make those two elements work together really well, it looks really well. But if you just use CGI and it looks so CGI-ish, it's, yeah, I just don't like that look. I personally do not. Unless it's a really campy film, like, you know, a horror comedy where the humor really fits that type of CGI-ish look, then that is totally acceptable. It works fine. But this wasn't campy enough. It should have been more. This was like trying to be serious. So not really working in that aspect. So, you know, it's somewhat quite predictable. We do get some bad guys and we're like, yeah, they are really bad guys and they will do this. And a lot of things are just so predictable that the story just stops being intriguing and interesting, which is such a shame. The build up to everything that was exciting in the first one and even in the second one is really gone. So I was mostly just looking forward to this film kind of ending. I was like, how long is this film? It's not even that long, but it kind of felt longer than it was, for sure. Oh, what will I give this film? I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. Yeah. So a 3 out of 10, I kind of consider, you know, the third one and the fourth one kind of almost the same in style. I mean, they do have a few different plots, but I do feel that this film, the fourth film, kind of mixes a lot of the plots and elements from all the first 3 films together. Yeah, so it does feel a bit of a mix, and that maybe that is why the script feels a bit off, or that they tried to fit in a lot of things and a lot of ideas, but it was just not working at all. So yeah, a 3 out of 10 to this film. And let's move on to the 5th review and the final review in this episode. Okay, we have arrived at the final review in this episode. Okay, so as I told you in the beginning that I was very surprised to learn that there is a remake of Anaconda that was released this year in March. I was like, huh? But it gave me like one more movie to review, so I was like, why not? Let's do it. So, Anaconda from 2024. It's directed by Hesheng Zhang and Guiliang Zhang. It's starring Nita Leigh, Terrence Yin, Paul Shea, and Jingchen Wang. I tried my best to pronounce those names as best as I could, but I probably butchered them, so sorry. But yeah, so this is a remake or reimagining of the Anaconda from 1997. It's from China and it has a lot bigger budget, much bigger budget. So this is basically it feels like it tries to be like one of these big action movies, like The Meg, for example. Yeah, so everything is bigger and just more of everything. And this one we have, I think there were a bunch of like, we are at a magic show, or they are performers. Some are like knife throwers. There's a woman who can escape from a tank full of water while being bound and stuff like that. But, financially, things aren't going that well. And then they are on a boat to capture anacondas. Like, yeah. I mean, this film really isn't as subtle as the first one. And there are many, many differences between this one and the original. And I do have to say that the intro scene that I was talking about in the first one, it's kind of intimate. We have like Danny Trejo, and he's trying to escape from the anaconda. It's claustrophobic, even though it's on a boat on a big river. But in this one, we have like three guys who are up to no good, and we can tell right away. And they get picked off one by one by the anaconda. Just like, it's right there in your face. Like, we see the snake at once. Like, there's not in the like intro in the first one that it was kind of hinted that I was a snake. You didn't really get to see the snake, but you kind of got a feeling of it. Here, it's just presented. It's right up our faces. So, I mean, it just like, I didn't really like that intro a lot, but it kind of spoke to the type of film this is, like the style. Because from then on, I was expecting something big, loud, lots of snakes in our faces, and that is exactly what we got. And we got a lot of different personalities, some very cliche personalities, unfortunately. But there were some fun moments as well. There were some fun kills, actually, even though we know a lot of them looked very CGI-ish. There were some fun moments for sure. And I was invested in a few characters, and I did like that there was a moment where two characters started like finally working together in a specific situation, because it kind of came out of nowhere. Because I was like, oh no, it's gonna go this way, and then it went in a totally different way. So the movie, the script does have a few surprises like that, which I appreciated, but otherwise it feels kind of very generic, like very generic remake. I wouldn't say it's bad, but I wouldn't say that it like adds a lot, or just that it's a remake that's needed. Yeah. What I miss most from the first film is the fantastic build-up that its scenes had to when we were going to see the anaconda, or when the anaconda was attacking, or when just something else was going to happen. Like in this one, the build-up wasn't really there. And when something happened, I don't know, sometimes it felt kind of forced in some situations. But I have to say, I was still kind of entertained in some ways. I think definitely this is more entertaining than the third and the fourth one was. And you do see that there is a lot of money being thrown into this. It looks super clean. Looks very like digital, like an action film, like they are looking these days. I mean, there are a lot of like huge long movies, like 3 hour long movies. This isn't 3 hour long, but coming from China, there are like a lot of money's been spent into this, huge budgets, like disaster movies that are just, everything is bigger in that movie, in those movies, like the disasters, fires, the rescue missions. Yeah, and this kind of felt like this is where it wanted to go, like be one of those big flashy action anaconda movie. Yeah, in some ways it was entertaining, fun, but also in a lot of ways it was lacking. It didn't really have the heart of the first film. Didn't have the well thought and developed characters or just the relations with relationships between the characters, the chemistry, the acting chemistry. I just didn't feel a lot of it, unfortunately. Would I like rewatch this again in a group of friends while maybe drinking something? For sure. But will I rewatch it alone? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe someday. Oh, what will I give this? I'm giving this one a 5 out of 10. So a 5 out of 10, you know, feels okay. I feel it's definitely better than the third and fourth installment, but it has nothing on the original or even the second film. Hey, wow, so yeah, this was a longer episode, and I do hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to click the like button and also to subscribe to my channel. I'm so close to 2,000 subscribers, and I'm super excited and happy, and I love interacting with you all and reading your comments. So I'm super happy. And of course, if you've made it until the end of this episode, then you have to comment a snake emoji. That is super important. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope that you are having an amazing, fantastic weekend. And another episode will be up next weekend, and I will reveal the theme in a few days.